The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Welcome back to another episode of Cashing Out. I'm your host, Billy Alvaro, co-host Wayne Hartart. We are Easy Sell Property Solutions. We're located right over here in Holbrook, New York. And you can find us online at easysell411.com, by phone 631-400-EASY. Cuz, how you doing?
Doing phenomenal, cuz. How you doing, man?
I'm struggling over here.
Struggling
My
over here.
earpiece, I have to hold it with one hand. It looks a little silly, but it is what it is.
It looks like
it is what it is. So listen, if you don't know about us, we have a company called Easy Sell Property Solutions. Basically what we do is we buy properties all day, every day for cash. We fill a very unique niche, and that niche is you don't have to list your property with a realtor. We buy properties as is, and we close in your timeline. And there's many other benefits we can go through. Some of them are which that we can buy any area, any situation, any condition. You can leave unwanted items in your home. If you're finding yourself in foreclosure, if you have somebody that passed away, it's an estate sale. If you have a house that's crappy, upside down, bad condition, no C of Os, wherever it is, whatever it is, however it looks, call us 631-400-EASY. We will make you an all-cash offer over the phone or at your home. Either way, we close on your timeline. Call us 631-400-EASY. All right, so today, a little intro about us. Today, we have a very special guest. We're going to be going along the lines of quality entrepreneurs that are females in New York that are actually rocking it. And we have today Rhonda, I'm going to kill your last name again, Klch.
You're good. Klch.
Rhonda Klch from Equity First Foundation. She runs and owns a non-for-profit out here in Long Island. And the thing I love about you, Rhonda, is you are like the networker of all freaking networkers. Like, you have a Rolodex. No shit. Like, your Rolodex is pretty extensive. So I want to get into, first of all, tell us what Equity First Foundation is. And then once we understand what that is, I want to go back to the beginning and understand how you actually ended up where you are today.
Sure.
Because it was a pretty unique story.
Yeah, no, and I agree. So the Equity First Foundation is really a passion project that started about 5 years ago. The foundation itself is now 4.5 years old. It takes some time to put it together. But the idea was to provide really good quality education, financial education to the consumers, not just on Long Island, but predominantly just to different communities. What I found through my networking and through my other business is that there's a lot of people who are out there promoting their businesses and promoting and talking about relief and how people can overcome different barriers, but they're not actually giving the solution. They're doing a lot of talking, but there's nobody there that's sitting there holding their hand and walking them through an actual resolution. Mm. So, you get a little frustrated when you're hearing the same thing over and over again. So the Equity First Foundation was put together as a way for us to educate the communities and the people within these communities on giving them different options and really giving them a roadmap so that they have something to focus on and that they have an end game.
I love it.
Definitely. It's like executing a plan. Most people in business struggle. They talk about it, but they don't do anything. You're coming in and you're actually giving them an executed plan and saying,
and we hold them responsible.
Yeah.
We set benchmarks and we give, again, accountability. We have a CRM system that we use, so it helps us to monitor the timelines and, again, to reestablish and reset those expectations. It's having a personal coach, and it's very rewarding. So at the end of the day, when you know that you've been, not just myself, but my team has been responsible for somebody achieving success or overcoming any kind of hardship, is extremely rewarding. And when you go back to, me networking, I rely on those business professionals, not just for my own business, but, they're sending clients to us because they know that we're a trusted advisor as well.
And you consider yourself a financial literacy consultant, correct?
I do, in the respects to where I am right now. My role in the foundation is executive director. So that really puts me in a position to be running and managing and setting the expectations for the foundation. But in addition to that, where it comes to the one-on-ones and the group play, and when we're out physically dealing with, either seniors or veterans, at-risk homeless, incarceration, et cetera, I'm there to make sure that they understand exactly what's necessary. And first and foremost, making sure that they realize that they should be in a comfortable space, that everything that we talk about, it's very personal and emotional. And I'm sure you get that as well when you have people losing their home. It's a very emotional.
It's not easy for them at all. And they're confused. And they have so much information and they don't know which way to turn. And we spoke about this in the show a lot. Yeah. A lot of people that get themselves in that situation, what do? They take no action. They become that deer in the headlights and they kind of freeze and they don't know which way to turn. And so you're really filling a need, a real serious need that's out there. And I want to talk about the various products that you offer and the consultings that you do. But, when people get themselves, I was in that situation years back. You were in that situation. You lost a property out in Vegas. I lost a business, was $14 million in debt. Like, I get what it's like to have complete financial stress on your shoulders. And listen, I know what I'm doing, and I still had that financial stress on my shoulders. I couldn't imagine somebody who, they didn't do this for a living, and they're in the process of losing their home, or they have a loved one that just passed, and they don't know which way to turn, and you're coming in and you're actually filling that void. So kudos to you.
Yeah, like one of the things that we do, whether it be for a business or for somebody losing their home, is we help them create their exit plan. Most people don't even hear of that term, or they'll say an exit plan. What does that mean? I'm losing my home. What's an exit strategy? And, we work with consultants through our foundation that will help them to create, and again, I'm going to say it like this because it's really more your language. When somebody's losing their home and they've raised their children, they have memories and they have an emotional attachment.
Big time.
And part of what we do is have them leave those good memories. We don't want them to walk away feeling like this entire scenario has been toxic. So by helping them prepare scrapbooks and memory books, and we'll have people go over and they'll cut out like a small section of wallpaper and we'll scrapbook it, just so that they could keep those memories about everything that they've done in that home precious, so that when they're leaving, they feel empowered, they know exactly what's happening, and they're looking forward to their next chapter.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. We've done that before.
We did it with houses. People that are moving, we'll take memories from them as we're renovating. We'll actually encase it into a wall or something, and just to leave a little piece of them in it. So take us through, let's look at somebody who's losing their home, right? So how would they, first of all, find you? How do they actually come in contact with Rhonda's company, Equity First Foundation? Are you marketing to them? Is it a lot of referral based? Take us through that process of how you're actually bringing clients into your organization. And then if they are in foreclosure, what do you actually do? Is it you're saving their home, you're doing a loan mod, you're doing a short sale, you're helping them save money? Because it's overwhelming with the amount of stuff that you do. So I want to break it down into pieces.
Sure.
So people who are listening can get an understanding. And you're one of the resources. We speak on the show a lot that if we're not a good fit and you're in foreclosure and you're looking to sell your house or you don't know what you're going to do, and you call us and we're like, look, you really want to save it, Rhonda's the person we're going to refer you over to. If you want to save the home and you call us and we look at your profile and you're like, listen, I really want to stay in a home. I have memories. I think I could swing it. I'm in foreclosure, but I still want to stay. Rhonda gets involved. Yeah. And so we refer over to you, and then what would happen with that client?
So just to kind of come back to go forward. So to answer your first question, which is how do people find out who we are?
Yep.
So we don't actually do target marketing and advertising. All of our business, when it's a direct call in from, John Jones, is generally done through trusted advisors. So the first phone call when somebody's in financial distress is generally to either their attorney, an accountant, a financial planner, a banker. That's generally where it starts. When they've identified that they have a client in need, they, again, don't know how to respond and provide those resources. So those clients would come to us and we do a consultation. At the foundation, we don't actually do any of the services per se relating to foreclosure. But what we will do is we will sit with them and go through the numbers, run the financials, set the expectations. Again, there might be somebody that calls you that says, I received a notice in the mail. Oh my God, I'm in foreclosure and I think I have 30 days to respond, because maybe they're misinterpreting what this summons states.
Right.
And then they pick up and they want to vacate. So they're not understanding the timelines. we'll sit with them and go through all that. We'll figure out if their hardship is permanent or temporary. We will analyze their, exactly what's going on. And from there, once we've created a plan, we will then refer them to trusted advisors that are associated to the foundation. So if we feel that by filing a bankruptcy and eliminating all of their monthly financial obligations gives them a fresh start, and then their mortgage payment becomes affordable, then we'll refer them to a bankruptcy attorney, and then we could refer them to an associate that might be able to assist with the modification. We also will help people file their own modification papers. So if we have somebody who feels that they are comfortable and competent in following through, we will help them set up their file and run those financials for them. But we won't actually do it.
You'll actually help them prepare, but they'll submit.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So you really are like, you're a counselor, you're an advisor, you're a conduit to put them into direct contact with other people, but you're not actually doing the work for them.
No. On the consulting side, we do have a consulting business, which is really where it prompted from. And I was so passionate in wanting to provide non-biased, straightforward, honest information that I needed to remove myself from that entirely. So when somebody comes to the foundation, again, I've aligned myself with professionals that I know are the best in the industry. Mm-hmm. And again, some people are too busy. Some, it's really cutting through the thick of it and figuring out who has the best chemistry. Not every client is the same, so I need to have 2 or 3 different types of bankruptcy attorneys, 2 or 3 types of modification agencies.
Yeah, you have to match
foreclosure.
Everybody's personalities are different. They don't mesh well together. Smart, very smart.
And then again, when we have the exit, which sometimes the exit is that they really need to focus on selling the property, whether it be a short sale or a regular resale, it's having that conversation as well. And then when we get to that point, if the property is upside down or I don't want to use the word not habitable, but sometimes the properties are really not very habitable, on the border of being condemned, and or sometimes these are investment properties. We deal with a lot of people who dabbled in real estate investing and they've had a bad experience and now they need to get out, and then we refer them to people like yourselves.
I like the business model. Yeah. I like the fact that it's not for profit, and I like the fact that people, they're really coming to you for answers, your knowledge, and then you're not doing the work like you said. You're actually bringing them to the best of the best to suit their needs. I love that. I love that model, and it works. How many people do you think, you probably don't, I don't know if you know offhand, but how many people over the last 4.5 years have you been able to help in all the various fashions? Like,
oh my God, well, it depends on how you're managing the metrics on that, because there are workshops that we do, public speaking forums that we do. So, we'll go to a domestic violence shelter, a, Department of Social Services, we do programs for them. We'll go to, women's shelters and veteran work. So we see thousands of people a year. So it would be wrong for me to say, how many. But if you said, how many people do you remember touching the lives of or communicating with, where you've really, really given an impact to their family, I would say a good 100 people a year, and that would be on the lighter side. And these are people where I could actually walk down the street and shake their hand and know who they are and remember their story and remember their, who their children are and where they go to school. Yeah. And again, we meet them through the foundation, but certain people's stories have more of an impact than others. And other people you just emotionally gravitate towards more than others.
It's amazing. Very similar to what we're doing. I mean, we bring people in, we spend a lot of time with them, and there's a lot of problems that they have. And at a point, they get to know us, like us, trust us. We help them out, and we keep in touch with people that we've sold their houses 5, 6, 7, 9 years ago that are still friends with us. Remember their story. It's the rapport that we create is phenomenal, and it's so self-rewarding because you're doing it in so many different aspects now when I look at it. I mean, anything from losing your house all the way to drugs to everything. I mean, you are tackling every single issue.
It all you mentioned, has the same root.
It has the same root. Of course. But you also mentioned businesses. Like, what do you do with businesses? Because you mentioned that like 2 or 3 times, and you really didn't touch on that.
Sure. So, unfortunately, a small business owner, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, their business expenses and what happens on the business completely affects their personal side of things as well. So a lot of times we have small businesses that will contact us because for a variety of reasons. They either want to go into growth mode and they don't know if that's actually obtainable or if it's the right way of doing things. Wow. Everybody thinks by growing that their business will grow, but they don't look at the cost of, and you're shaking your head.
Well, because
so sometimes
single-handedly we know that.
Yeah, sometimes keeping it small is actually better. So we consult with them on that. Sometimes they're just not making the right decisions as far as systems and procedures, or they're leaving themselves open for liability. They may have gotten comfortable. So I just sat with somebody the other day. He has a business loan that he's been paying on interest only at, I think it's 12%. And because they just take the money out every month, I said, you have excellent credit, established business, and your net revenue every year qualifies you for a prime loan. Why are you? He says, because I would never even know where to start and where to look. So again, a lot of those referrals, again, come from trusted advisors or a friend of a friend, or talking about networking. I don't go to networking groups, but a majority of the people on Long Island associated with a lot of the networking groups will know who I am. I'm this little kept secret.
I like that. And she is little too, right? She's like 4'11". Borderline midget?
Well, yeah, some people like small things, but what small body, big mouth. But what happens is that when you do what I do, and again, it becomes very personal, as a business owner, and I can say this to even both of you, when you are experiencing your financial hardship, there's a certain level of pride that went into growing your business. Letting people have an understanding, even though the market is what created your loss, so you have the best excuse ever, there's still a personal attachment that's associated with that loss. And wanting to speak to somebody about that is very personal. So a lot of my private clients that I see come to me because they know that I have, not only will I look at them with their best interest at heart, but they know that I'm very private and that their information is safe with me. Yeah. So they can have that conversation and together. So from there, they become my best cheerleaders. Nobody knows who my clients are, but when you have somebody out there advocating for what you've done for them, it's your best form of advertisement.
Yeah, I bet, because you make it safe for the people. You come in, they have a non-judgmental place to come to actually open up.
And they feel safe.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing worse than being in a business community with a bunch of people who would love nothing more than to see your failure, right? I mean, call it for what it is. Amazing. I've never been around more people who want to see others fail, and they will do what is necessary to take them down on their way.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a jealousy thing.
It's a jealousy thing.
100%.
What my whole life, I still fight it.
Yeah.
I have haters.
People, they love to hate you.
That's what they do. They literally.
I don't know why anybody would not like me, but I have haters.
Because they're jealous of what you do, and you take action and make stuff happen.
It's people, man.
Yeah.
People are
people.
And you're going to have lovers, you're going to have haters, and I believe that if you have to have both. If you just have all people that love you, you're not doing something right because you're agreeing with too many people. And you have to make a stance, and by making a stance and by saying who it is that you are and representing your company, your best interest, you're going to have people who are going to completely disagree with your thought process, and they're going to think you're a complete asshole. And I don't mind that at all.
No, me neither.
I do not mind that.
I think we actually encourage it.
I think I like the challenge I like the battle. And I'm sure you get that too. So you don't always have to agree, but just as long as you know that my way is the right way.
Love it. All right, so listen, we are here today with Rhonda. Say your last name.
Klch.
Never going to be able to say it. Rhonda Klch, Equity First Foundation. You can find Rhonda online at equityfirstfoundation.org and by phone 631-714-4822. So if you're out there and you want to save your home, you're going through a financial hardship, what other situations do you handle? Financial hardship, saving their home, business downturn, what else?
Student loan debt, understanding, retirement planning. Again, exit.
The whole gamut. The whole
Yeah.
exit strategy.
And it's not myself. I mean, don't misunderstand. It's the foundation. We have a team of over 35 professionals that are associated with the organization that all focus and specialize in specific target areas.
I love it.
Yeah,
so if
that's
you
smart.
find yourself in that situation with anything that myself, Rhonda, and Wayne just spoke about, and you want her expertise, her foundation's expertise, go online, equityfirstfoundation.org, or call her at the office. One of her staff members will help. 631-714-4822. Now, on the flip side, we're going to come back in a little bit right after these messages. If you have a property you're looking to sell, you want to get an all-cash offer, fair price, call us. 631-400-EASY. It's going to take you 15 minutes over the phone. One of our people in the office is going to go through a questionnaire. We're going to see if we're a good fit for you, if you're a good fit for us. And if we are, we'll make an appointment, come out to your property, do an inspection, and then right there on the spot, we will give you an all-cash offer, a fair all-cash offer. And if it's not a win-win, Wayne, what do we do?
Folks, we'll just part as friends, and we'll direct you in the right position.
It's that simple. We will definitely part as friends. And if we're not a good fit, you want to save your home, we're going to refer you right over to Rhonda and her organization, because they are doing wonderful things for people out here in Long Island. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's happening in this week, actually, because you have a lot of fundraisers. I want to speak about what you're doing this Thursday. You have a nice big fundraiser happening for a really special group of people. And I want to get into that. And I want to get into your backstory a little bit and figure out, where you came from and how you ended up where you are today.
You got it.
We'll be right back right after these messages, guys. Welcome back. This is Billy Alvaro, Wayne Hartart. We are Easy Sell Property Solutions. You can find us online at easysell411.com. We are here today with Rhonda Klch. Klch.
I think she's clutch. I like it better.
Rhonda Klch
Rhonda's
from
clutch. I like that one better.
Equity First Foundation. I'm going to say it 5 times wrong. So we're talking today about what Rhonda does, her foundation, how she's helping out a lot of people out here in Long Island and all over New York with financial education. I mean, she's really filling a void, a need that's out there, because there's a lot of companies that, one, they prey on people who are in distress, right? Mm-hmm. And you're filling in, you're coming in, you're educating them, and you're really just... you're putting them in touch with the right people. You're setting the tone. You're putting together the right package, and you're having them understand what they really can afford and what they can and cannot do, right? And so before we get into, what your foundation does on the other side, because you do a lot of educational seminars, you have a lot of networking groups. Mm-hmm. Take us back just for 5 minutes. Like, how did you get started down this path?
Oh, God. I think when you're an entrepreneur, you're always an entrepreneur. You were just born that way.
Yeah, it's in your DNA.
Yeah, you would agree.
You have that it factor.
So when, I opened up my first business at 18. By the time
What kind of business?
What was that? Yeah. We don't want to say. Okay.
No.
You
hustled and you made some money at 18. We'll leave it at that.
Believe it or not, when I was in, no is not an option. If somebody tells me no, that actually
it drives you. You want to?
Yeah,
I love when people say it can't be done.
I'll
prove that wrong.
You wrong.
I'm with you on that one.
So actually, when I was 17 years old, I applied for a job that said, make all this money, et cetera, et cetera. And it landed up, I went in for this interview, and it was a telemarketing job for a numismatic company. So, brokering rare coins, let's just call it for what it is. Okay. So when I went for the job interview, they went, "Oh my God, how old are you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be 18." They said, "You can't work here. We're selling rare coins. What do you know? You have no life skills, no life events." I said, "But I can get on the phone, and nobody needs to know who I am and
on the other end,
how old I am or how tall I am."
Exactly, or how tall I am. So with that in mind,
that's great.
I approached them and said, "Look, let's just agree that if I'm willing to learn, and it's a commissionable position, if I'm willing to learn, you are willing to let me work here. Okay. If the money and the opportunity is there, I want to learn that opportunity." And they said, "Well, it's on your time, your dime. So that's fine." And I did. I went to go work there. I did very well.
And did they give you a salary? It was all commission.
Commission.
All commission.
I was a hustler.
So that in and of itself, right there, there's lessons, because you were banking on yourself. You were not looking for an hourly. You were not looking for a paycheck. You were looking for opportunity to utilize your God-given talents to go out there and and put your talents to use to start earning. How'd that job work out? I'm sure you killed it.
The job worked out really well. Unfortunately, what I had found out is that the company that I was working for was not very
Legit.
Thank you. And at 18 years old at that point, it's a life lesson. You're saying to yourself, oh my God, did I really not do the right thing for these people? But because I learned the industry. I established relationships with our vendors. I landed up having all of the contact information. So at the time, my boyfriend, who's now my ex-husband, but at the time, he said, you really enjoy this. Maybe we should open up our own, shop. And that's what we did. So we opened up our
Gold
own.
Coins? No shit, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, so we opened up our own company, and he actually went to Colorado. He learned how to grade and work through PCGS and NGC at the time, and he would go to all the places and he would screen, and that's what he did. I was on the phone on the other end buying the leads, which pushed us to phase 2, which was how do you accept payment? In order to accept payment back in the day, you're going back 25 years ago, 26 years ago. So in order
Internet was just probably just getting started, right?
Yep. So exactly. So what happened was, in order to collect payment, you had to have a storefront. So now we decide, okay, well, we'll get a storefront so that we could collect the credit card payments from the clients that we're actually selling over the phone. And what landed up happening is, what are you putting in the store? So we had no idea what to put in the store. So a friend of ours said, you should just make it like a sports memorabilia shop. Again, an area we have no knowledge of. So we landed up opening up a shop with sports memorabilia and comic books and trading cards. So that was the front end of the store. The back end was the rare coins where I was in the back. And we landed up doing really well with the front end of the store. So from there, we actually opened up a bunch of kiosks in the malls. So if you remember back in the day, Smith Haven Mall and South Shore Mall, all those kiosks that are in the middle.
Right.
We opened up years ago kiosks, and we would open up seasonally for holidays and selling, these packages and selling the coins and the cards, not the coins, I'm sorry, the cards and the comic books. And we did really well. And so within the first few years, we'll just say we did well enough that we landed up purchasing a couple of houses, and that's how I got involved in real estate.
Good.
So I love the fact that you banked on yourself. Yeah, I love entrepreneurs that have the mindset thing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, when you started with this, did you have any fear, like, I don't know if this is going to work out, any trepidations, anything that was like in your head?
She was 17.
You just had no fear, correct?
No fear.
It was just,
you didn't know what you didn't know, and you just went for it.
That was it. I
lessons
I banked on self-education. I banked on reading, asking questions, going to I had no problem going to professionals and asking them questions. I think, right.
Yeah.
If you don't
Another lesson
ask,
right there.
if you don't ask, you don't know. Yeah. And if you just think that everything ahead of you is going to be flowers, then you're setting the wrong expectation for yourself. So I went out there and I asked a lot of questions. And that's kind of what brought me to the next phase, which was, we started buying and selling, houses. We had purchased, at this point now, I was 23 years old.
So this is around about what year? 90?
We're in 95, 96.
Okay.
And my attorney at the time said, have you ever thought about getting involved in mortgages? And I said, no, I haven't. He says, I have a guy for you. Just want you to meet somebody. He introduced me to a gentleman, and he said, you seem great. You're young. You're energetic. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with you. So let's just try to figure it out. So from there, being that the kiosks were running, part-time seasonally, at this point, we stopped doing the rare coins because the front end of the business was doing well. I happened to have had a child in between all of that as well. I landed up getting involved in mortgages, and my niche and the person who was my mentor was right. He said, you are 23 years old, you're 100 pounds soaking wet, you don't have much life experience, and you're running in a man's world. I hate to say it that way, but it was predominantly run by men. Mm-hmm. This was before subprime. So there was a lot of things that were running against me, but having confidence in myself, I said, again, No is not an option. Yep. And I said, just give me my business cards and let me figure it out. And my path became working with everybody else's declines. So if back in 1996...
Which was very, very smart. I want to point that out. That's a very smart niche, because instead of you going out there and competing on rate...
Correct.
And competing with everybody else on the eighth of a point, you said to them... You said to the bankers, I'm sure, and the brokers, give me your declines, give me everybody that's getting rejected, and then you came in with what you're doing now is what you were doing back then.
Yeah.
No,
you were figuring out this whole financial literacy piece and actually consulting them on getting approved for more. I love it.
And it was, I would walk in with baskets, literally baskets. And I would say, hi, my name is Rhonda. I'm with so-and-so mortgage company, and I already know that you work with Billy, Joe, and Tom. And that's great. But when Billy, Joe, or Tom cannot approve your client that's looking to purchase this home, can you please consider just putting that lead in a basket? And I would literally walk and hand baskets and put them in the offices. And I had gotten a break.
So now they have a mental attachment to you with that basket. And every time they have a decline, without them realizing, they're looking over, they see that freaking, but they see the basket, which is a mental trigger to get them to be like, you know what? That Rhonda chick, that little 4'11" soaking wet 100-pound lady that came to my office gave me that damn basket. I'm going to start throwing some deals in there.
And they did. And what happened was that...
Did they consider you a basket case?
Sometimes.
I was just thinking that.
And I'll say it like this. And if they did, it wasn't for very long. So... what ended up happening was I would come and pick up the declines. I would call and introduce myself. I logged where every referral came from. And it was just resetting expectations. Fixing the credit, maybe helping them secure additional ways for down payment, resetting the expectations on purchase price, educating them to other programs that may be available. And then once we, my goal was, as an originator for the mortgage, was I knew what back-end products I had available. So I was receiving these referrals through attorneys, accountants, and financial planners, and predominantly real estate professionals, because the real estate professionals don't want to lose any opportunity at all. So what ended up happening was, as I started figuring out the problems, and then I was able to say to somebody, look, a few weeks ago I was here and you in this basket was a referral from you for this client. I want to let you know I have a pre-approval. We're ready to go. Word spreads quickly. Yeah. When somebody has something that's working, they want to, really utilize that. And so for only a short period of time was I known as the person who handled the declines, because once I was able to prove myself that I knew what I was doing, I was getting the A business.
Absolutely.
So within my first year, I did more business than
I love it.
So freaking smart.
Yeah, that was a great strategy.
Yeah, kudos.
Thinking outside the box, using that niche, and then boom, you blew up the business.
And that's it. So you learn so much from there.
Love it.
And then, again, as both of you are business professionals, and I know that you're both very big on self-education and always learning. Always. So I just constantly stayed in that environment where, going back to school, I went to school for my CFP. I got licensed in other areas, online learning classes, anything that related to the financial arena that would help me
get the edge.
Get the edge. I just constantly, stay on that platform of always learning, always figuring out what's happening in the marketplace and keeping my edge up. So from there, I opened up a consulting company, and we targeted specifically those people that were in distress. So it was back to the same platform, but now we opened it up to, going to bankruptcy attorneys, going to financial planners, and now saying to them, look, it's not about us, taking the mortgage. It was no longer about me having that mortgage lead. Now it was about just taking clients, just ordinary clients that may really just have financial challenges, and helping them to overcome them.
The pathway's been there the whole entire time.
Yeah,
it has.
You
hit it on the head before.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing this for a while. You know what I learned about her, too? She actually sent me pictures. I was in Jersey 2 weeks ago, and she's getting on a plane, and she gets off the plane, and she actually does a lot of motivational public speaking. You were on stage with Dean Graziosi?
I will say that I was at the NAC conference, which is National Achievers Congress.
Yep.
It was headlined by Tony Robbins. So because of my, let's call it for what it is, I run a not-for-profit. There's no money there. I make my money in real estate. Yeah. So I speak for a company called response.edu. And Response is associated to the NAC conference. So I was able to share the same stage at the same conference, I will say at different times, with we had headlined by Tony Robbins. I was backstage with Dean Graziosi.
Yeah, Dean was there.
The nicest guy you could imagine.
Down to earth dude, right?
Oh my God. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank was there. I mean, it's an amazing lineup. If anybody is ever able to go to one of these conferences, it's a hybrid of the best of what all of these gurus have put together.
What do they do? Like an hour? Each guy's on stage 45 minutes to an hour?
So Dean was on for maybe about half hour, 45 minutes. Kevin O'Leary comes on for about 20, 25 minutes. Again, the main production is Tony Robbins. He was on the first day for 4 hours. I flew home on Saturday morning. But the second day, again, he goes on for another handful of hours. Russell Brunson, I think, was supposed to go the next day, and Grant Cardone. So they're all associated. So it's all your top gurus. They all bring, the best of what they have for that time slot to really educate you. And they all have a different niche.
Yep.
So at this point in time, if you're looking to see what, each one of these gurus has to offer, you come to one of these events and you get a taste for exactly what their opportunities are and how you can get involved in their organizations.
So I love that you're doing all of this. I have a question. How do you do as much as you do? Because you are everywhere. Like, you're doing a lot. Like, let's talk about, you're flying around, you're doing these talks on stage with, with headliners. You're doing the non-for-profit. You're having countless networking events that you host. You're having a party, a fundraiser this Thursday. Let's talk about that. And first, let's talk about how you do what you do. Because I know I'm bouncing, but how do you get done and do so much?
I, like you, operate on one speed, which is fast. So if I don't understand what downtime means, people will say, oh, have you read a good book? I don't sit back and read a good book unless it's a book that's going to help me, move forward. It might be a business book, might be, something of that on that line, but there's one speed. I'm also a multitasker. Women are very good at multitasking. So you're
the CEO of your household, so it's good. Yeah.
So, when you could really, again, if you look in my notebook, it's, designing out everything that you have to do for the day, creating a checklist, checks and balances, delegating responsibilities. So I can do all the things that I do participate in because I either am very well organized or, I'm delegated appropriately to the team of professionals that work with me.
You're an executor. Yeah. You make things happen, period. Love that about you. Let's talk about this coming Thursday. You're having a fundraiser at where you have it, Off-Key Tiki. The fundraiser is to support autistic children.
So, I understand. Sure. So this is our 5th annual Beach Bash. The Beach Bash is what we refer to as your fun and flirty night out to network with business executives. So normally when you are at I hate to use the word networking events, so we'll call them business development events. Okay. When you go out and you're there to facilitate new relationships, it's a little uncomfortable. Everybody's dressed. It's, you don't really know what the etiquette would be, shaking hands, passing cards. So what the Beach Bash is...
Throwing the F-bomb.
Throw the F-bomb. So what happens with the Beach Bash is what we call like your fun and flirty night out. It's actually even family friendly where you could bring children if you needed to. It's at Off-Key Tiki, so the venue is very appropriate.
Sure.
And it's a great way to shake hands with people over, volleyball or cornhole or dancing to the band that comes in, just meeting other people.
I like it.
And we bring in facilitators. So we have a group of volunteers, but we refer to them as facilitators, that will walk around and say, what do you do and who are you looking to meet? So that I'm not sticking, Billy and Wayne with the girl that sells Arbonne. Right. So, we want to make sure
very smart. You
that
put the right people.
that, with the limited opportunity that you have to meet people and meet the right people, that our facilitators are there to help those introductions. Smart. It's family friendly. So we do have a lot of people that bring their children, and they do that because sometimes you could engage over something other than just what do you do for a living. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's about the fact that you're wearing a Yankee T-shirt, or, you are wearing a hat that says, whatever it may be. But, you're giving them other opportunities with other areas to network.
And the money for this one is going to who?
We're using the net proceeds from this event to support Sassy. Sassy is also a Long Island grown business. The CEO and founder of Sassy is Priscilla Arena. She's a good friend of mine. And she works in the space of helping families that have autism and children and families where autism is on the spectrum. She has a variety of different programs, and we'll be utilizing the net proceeds from this event to support her vocational training programs.
Love it. You're doing good things on Long Island. You're supporting a lot of good ventures out there. Honestly, you are a ball of energy.
I try.
You're a ball of energy. You are a professional. You're a networker. You're a good, solid human being, Rhonda. And it's my pleasure to know you. Love having you on. Myself and my cousin love having you on the show today.
Great show.
If you're out there and you have a situation that you want Rhonda to help you with, whether it be personal, you're in foreclosure, you want to save your home, you need some financial coaching and some financial consulting, give Rhonda a call at her office at 631-714-4822 or go to her website, equityfirstfoundation.org. And of course, if you want to sell your property for cash, get an all-cash offer, a fair offer on the spot, give us a call at the office at 631-400-EASY or online, easysell411.com. Cuz, you want to take us out?
Sure, folks. Guys, if you have any houses that you're looking to sell, please pick up the phone, 631-400-EASY. Give us a shout. We do not care any conditions. We do not care any situations. We'll be here to help you out. We'll close on your timeline 6 days from now, a month from now, 3 months from now, whatever you may need. Please pick up the phone. Won't be a deer in headlights. 10-minute conversation. We could change your life. 631-400-EASY. Please.
Love it.
Great show, Rhonda. It was great having you on.
Rhonda, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure having you on.
What a technical show, huh? That was some laughs.
It was a little bit of a disaster with the technical difficulties.
But you know what? We rolled with it, folks. See how we did it? We throw a couple F-bombs when we're on live, but it is what it is.
It's a little diversity.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Take care, guys.